Hello, hello. I'm audible, right? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, hi everyone, and welcome to day two of Hello World. So, we're really excited to have you guys here today, and I can see the participants number climbing up slowly. Okay, it's going down and up. Anyway, so on day two, we have planned a session on user interface and user experience design, which is UI UX design using Figma. And I'll be taking the session myself. It's kind of weird to be taking a session at your own event, but I guess that's how it is now. So it's going to be a complete hands-on session. So I would recommend that you guys split your screen into basically one tab and place another tab outside. I'll show you how just in case, and we can do it and go along together. That would be the best thing, I think. Okay, so I'll start with an intro on what is Figma. So Figma is kind of a comparatively new software. It is basically a collaborated design tool environment which is used to design prototypes. But it is not restricted only to prototypes. It can also be used to design posters, brochures, etc. It can be used to design illustrations. So I'm sure you're all familiar with what is Photoshop and what is Illustrator, right? So they are the major players in the industry, which were provided by Adobe, of course, and they are like really heavy software. And there are some functions in Photoshop and Illustrator that we use most commonly, like for creating a poster, you don't need the entire capability of Photoshop. Like you can create a simple poster using simple tools, etc. And the same case for Illustrator. If you're doing like really heavy designs in Illustrator, it may require like the full power of Illustrator. But okay, someone is presenting. Whoever is presenting, please stop presenting. Yeah, I'll just continue with the text with the audio anyway. Yeah. So we don't need to use the full capabilities of Illustrator or Photoshop for doing like daily tasks or for making something small as making posters or brochures, etc. But at the same time, it is not that Figma is not powerful. It is very powerful. So we'll just see exactly what is the level and what are the capabilities of Figma today. And one of the major features of Figma, which makes it stand apart from all the other guys, is what the capability to work together in a collaboration. Basically, we are all using Google Docs, Google Sheets, right? So we know that we can make one document. You can make a document in Google Docs, and maybe all 143 of us can edit it at the same time. Or we can make a sheet in Google Docs and we can all edit it at the same time. Even maybe our group tutors or our teachers, what they do is when they want to collect some data, they'll either send a Google form or in some cases they'll send a sheet. And when you're filling that sheet, you can actually see other people also filling the sheet at the same time. So this is something that Google had achieved by collaborating all their Google Docs, the whole Google suite together. And this same capability has been achieved by Figma, but only in the case of design, which meaning that maybe 5 or 10 of us can work together on the same designing interface at the same time, which is actually which is a very huge deal. So let's dive right into the session. So I'll be switching off my cam now and we'll go into the hands-on session. Okay. Yeah, I'm visible, right? There's no problems, right? Can someone just answer yes or no? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll start with this then. So this is Figma, but we'll first go to a new tab. And okay, what I recommend that you guys do is you can take your Google tab, and if this is, imagine this is, okay, I'll take the Meeting. Just place your Meeting on one side and open another tab on the other side. So you can view and then you can close your chat window here. And maybe at the same time you can view and you can do it along with me. And another thing you can do is you can go to more options over here and change the layout to Spotlight. You can change the layout to Spotlight, and then you can pin me on top. You can just take this, and then you can. I guess I will be pinned because I'm presenting right now. So that will give you the full screen view. So you can actually see it in a bigger size, and you can do it along with me. So I recommend that you guys do that. I'll just wait for like 10 seconds for people to do that. Okay, I'll shift back to full screen now. So okay, so let's start. Okay, yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to figma.com, which is the site. So Figma, figma.com. Just go to figma.com here. I'll probably be already logged in. Go to figma.com and you should get a new screen, which is this. So once you're in figma.com, you can click on sign up here, and you can sign up with your Google ID, which is basically just connecting to your Google account and signing up with it. Or you can enter a new email and password if you have something other than Google, and then you can sign up with that. So please do that, and then we'll go to the next section. Just click on sign up with Google and log in with your Google ID, or you can enter your new username and password and you can log in with that. So once you do that, you will be logged into Figma, and once you do that, you will reach this page. But your page will not be looking like this. It will probably be empty, so it won't be having all these files in it. I'll do a thing. Yeah, sure. I'll say it once more. I'll do a thing. I'll keep this call open on my phone too, so I can read the chat. So if you have anything, just send it along with me. So what I said earlier was go to figma.com. Once you go to figma.com, on the top right corner, there will be an option to log in. Click on the login button, and it will ask you to sign up with Google, or it will ask you to enter your username. It will ask you to enter your email ID and a new password. So create an account and log into Figma. Create an account in Figma and log into it. This is what you have to do. So I'll give you some time. With that time, I'll just log into the Google Meet on my phone too, so I can see what you guys are typing. Okay. So I'm there in the. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, I'm there in the call now. So if you have anything to ask me, just type it in the chat section. 1 second. Yeah, hello. Okay, we should be fine now. So is there any problem? Yeah, exactly. You're on some kind of editing platform after signing in. You can see my screen, right? You guys went to figma.com only, right? Not another site, right? figma.com and just log in with Google. So once you have done that, you will reach this page. If you're on an editing platform, you may have already gotten into a new document or something, maybe. If that's the case, we'll just view what's happening. So you have drafts over here. Once you see this draft over here, okay, you won't have my similar screen because I've been using Figma for some time now, so I have a lot of documents here. So just if you are not on the screen, if you are on the screen, just click drafts over here and press this plus button, and you will get a new file in Figma. Is this the screen that you guys are on? Some of you at least. I'm gonna guess yes. Okay, yeah, okay. So you got the screen because you created a new account. So this is our editing environment, and this is where we're gonna be making all our designs. So I'll do a thing. I don't think we have the time to freshly start a new project from scratch and build the whole thing along the way. So I'll give you my link in which I have created something for this session, and you guys are not going to copy it like that. We're going to build it for sure, but we're going to take some elements from it, so it will be easier and faster. Okay. I'll paste this in the chat box and you can just get this over here. Yeah. Okay. And I would like to request the organizers to keep sending this link once in a while so that new people can access it too. Okay. So all you have to do is open this link. we can go along together. Open this link with me. And you will get the file that I was working on. So for your, in your case, you will get access to the file that I have not signed up here. Oh wow, okay. Okay, you can observe here and see that how many of you guys are accessing this file at the same time. 2432. Wow, I was not aware that this was possible. It's fun to watch this actually. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to create a copy of this file. This is my file. I don't think I've given you edit access, but I have given you view access. So what you're going to do is come back to your home page, go back to files, come back to this page, just click on the top left corner and click go back to files. And once you come here, that file that I have given access to you will be available here like this, like maybe hello world session, it will be there here. So just right click on it and click duplicate. So you will get a copy to yourself. This is completely similar to what we are doing in Google Drive. If I share you a link for a file, you can duplicate it and add it to your own drive, right? So the same functionality is happening here. Just come back to this page, just click on this corner here and click on back to files, and you will come back here, right click on this and duplicate it. So you will have a duplicate of my file. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy that you guys are here. So just go back here, click these 3 lines over here on the top left corner, click on back to files here. Once you do that, you will be back to the page, the starting page, and from there you can make a copy of my file. Click on back to files, click on the hello world session and click on duplicate, and you will have a duplicate of this file, which will be named hello world session, and in brackets it will be written copy, like this, almost like this. But it will be hello world session in this case. So I'll give you like 30 seconds more for you guys to create that copy, and then we'll start. Guys, go back out. Ankita, Tony, Anamika, G, Satish, all these people, go outside and create a copy. Come on. I'll tell you one more time how to create a copy and then we're starting, okay? Go to this corner over here. Go to this top left corner over here. You'll see 3 lines over here. This is the menu bar. Click on the menu. Click on back to files. Go back to the page. Create a copy of this file. Yeah, okay. I guess we'll start now. So once you have that copy, double click and open the copy file. Not my file. Double click and copy the file which says copy in brackets along with this name, please. I'll be opening my own file. Don't open this file with me. Open the copy file, okay? Okay, so as you can see, I have access to edit this, but you guys don't, because I gave it to you guys in view mode, but I am in the edit mode. Fine. And I'll be shifting to the Figma PC client that I have because I'm more comfortable with that. You can go to figma.com and download this and install it on your computer, but you don't have to do that. You can do it from your web browser, no problems at all, but I'll be using my Windows client. Okay, so once you have made a copy and you have opened it, you will be there in this screen, I guess. And once you're on this screen, just click once inside and click on Shift+1. Shift+1. Because if you're zoomed out or if you're somewhere else or something, just click on Shift and 1 together and you'll be back on the screen. If you're zoomed out or if you're not zoomed in, just click on Shift and 1 together and you will have the whole document in one single screen. Yeah, okay. So the next step is, how are we going to create this? How are we going to create this design and how are we going to prototype this design? So I was basically wondering, like, what will I create to show you guys? And I was completely out of ideas at the moment. So what I basically did was I transformed my resume into an app, which is not the brightest of ideas, but still it works for this session, I guess. And of all the names I could come up with, I named it Portfolio, which is another joke, but it's fine. Okay, you guys are still here. Please, all of you guys who are here, please get out of this. Click on the 3 lines on the top left corner. Click on back to files and get out of this space. Click here and get back out of files and create a copy of this, please. Okay, so we'll start now. So this is basically the Figma working environment. And if you guys are familiar with Photoshop, you'll know what layers are. So these are the layer. This is the layer panel on your left, and you have an asset panel too, but we don't need that now. We have the layer panel on the left. Then we have three options on the top right corner. One is design. We are in design right now. The other one is prototype, which is to convert this whole thing into a prototype. And the third one is actually code. And you can actually get the output of these things in CSS, iOS, and Android code. Android basically XML code, but it's not. Don't be too happy when you hear that, because basically what you're getting is the non-responsive code. If you have a phone with the exact same screen resolution of this, it will work perfectly. But otherwise, you can't use this code. I guess you can skip typing a few values and jump right into it. The same goes for CSS and iOS. It will be the fixed code, like all the width and height will be fixed. You'll have to convert it into make it more responsive. Okay, so let's start now. So if you're going to go along with me, what I recommend you do is press and hold Control and scroll out. Press and hold Control and scroll out. And if you want to work on a bigger screen, just ignore the like minimize the Google Meet and put it on full screen. I'll just tell you how to go along with the whole thing. Please select the screen and shift. Okay, he's giving instructions. Okay, so hold down Control and use your scroll wheel on your mouse. So that can be used for zooming out. If you don't have a mouse, you have a panel right here on the top right corner, which will show you the zoom option. So you can zoom in, zoom out, and zoom to fit. All the options are here. If you don't have a mouse, just use this. Okay, sure. Okay, if you're finding it difficult to follow with me, I'll slow it down. Sure. I'll just go extra quickly through what I just said till now. So what I want you guys to do is take this link, go to this link. I'm pasting it in the chat box again. Go to this link right here. You will open up to this screen. You will open up to this screen. Yeah, this screen here. You'll open up to this screen. So you will have access to the document that I have given you. And I want you to sign up with your Google ID or sign up with your email ID and create an account in Figma. Once you do that, you will get this file in your Figma panel, which is over here. Once you have logged in and you have access to the files, you will get your Figma files in this panel. Don't think I'll also work from web. That will be better. Once you have access to this file and you have logged in, come to these three menu. Come to the menu option right here and click on Back to Files. Just click on Back to Files, and you will go to this home page where it will show you all the files that you have used. In your case, you will probably be having only my file and an untitled file maybe. All these things will not be there because these are the things that I have used before. Now what I want you to do is click on my file, click on the Hello World session file, right click on it and click on duplicate. Number of points on the screen. Okay, I'll also duplicate along with you guys. When I'm believing that you guys are all back on this screen at least. So click on the Hello World session file. This is in my case, this file belongs to me, but in your case, this file still belongs to me. So just click on this file. Don't open it. Just click on it once. Right click on it once and click on duplicate right here. And as you can see, you have a new file here, which is Hello World session copy. So this is the file. I'm having two duplicates of the same file. So that's fine. Just okay, it's okay. You have two duplicates. Just start working with one file. Ignore the other one. No need to pay attention to the other one. So right click on this file, duplicate it, and you will get a copy file. Double click on copy file and open that file. Now we'll start working on this. Okay. Once you open the copy file, there won't be any points on the screen because this is not the file that has been shared with you guys. This is a file inside your Figma account. So there won't be any points or anything in it. Okay. So once you're back here, hold down the Control button and scroll out so you can get a better view of the workspace. Or you can go to the top right corner and click on this 25% value, this value right here. You can zoom in, zoom out, zoom to fit, or you can enter a custom value here, maybe 50%. 50%, and you will zoom into 50%. Okay. So this is what we have. This is what you have to do. So basically, what I want you to do is scroll out and give yourself some space on the side so we can start working. So once you have scrolled out, hold down the space bar, and you can see my mouse icon changing. It is changing. This is changing when I'm clicking and letting go of space bar. So just hold down on space bar Don't let go of it, and then you can use it as the hand tool to move around. You can either press on spacebar and do this, or you can go here and select the hand tool from the top panel, and you can do this. But I would recommend using the spacebar because it is easier to shift between the move tool and the hand tool. So just use the spacebar and move around your document like this. Just try it out for some time. I hope the others are coming up to track on this. It's pretty much simple. No need of explanation actually. Just go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the chat box. Open up the Figma file. Log in with your Gmail ID or create a new account. Come to this page. Create a duplicate of my file, and we're going to start working on it. I think we have taken enough time. Yeah, it's almost 6:30 now, so we have to speed things up. So let's just continue from here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this app, this layout that I have created here. Once again, we're going to duplicate it, and then we are going to prototype it. Okay, I'm starting to think that we needed 2 sessions for this, but for now let's manage with 1 session. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is create this page, right? So for creating this page, the first thing you need to do is create a frame. So these are the different frames in our document. So the first one is the landing page, which is 1 frame. This hash value denotes a frame. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames in our case. So you can start a frame by going up here, this hash value tool on the top. It is written frame, of course. You can either select this by clicking F or S on your keyboard, F on your keyboard, or choose the slice tool, but that's for later. Click on F on your keyboard and you will get the frame tool. And click on V on your keyboard to get the move tool. So what we need now is the frame tool. So just click on the frame tool here, and on the right side panel, you will get different templates. So you have the templates for phones, iPhone 11, iPhone 8, iPhone 8, iPhone SE, etc. You have for tablets, iPad, Surface Pro, etc. You have for your desktop, which is different resolutions. Sorry, no need to click on it. I just clicked on it by accident. Take your frame tool. You have templates for different desktops. You have it for your Apple Watch. You have it for A4, A5, A6, all the different paper sizes. You have it for social media. This is actually very helpful. You don't have to Google it every time. Twitter post, Twitter header, Facebook post, Facebook cover, all these things. And for the Figma community, that is basically for your account in Figma, but don't mind that. So we are going to design this for Google Pixel 2 XL. I'm not a fan of iPhone, so we're going to go with Google Pixel 2. If you want to go with iPhone, please be my guest. Choose anything you want. In my case, I'm going with the Google Pixel 2. Click on it, and you will get a fresh new frame on your screen. Once you get that, just pull it up and just place it wherever you want, and we can start working on it. Okay. Too difficult to follow. Yeah, sorry about that, but we are short on time. Maybe we could put a more detailed course on this later. That would be more helpful for you guys. But basically, once you have logged into Figma, all you have to do is create a copy of my file. Just go to your home page, which is in files, right click on the file and create a duplicate of it. Open that duplicate and you will get a fresh new interface, which is named, you will get this. You have created a duplicate of my file by right clicking on it and pressing duplicate. You will get a file named hello world session copy. You open that file and this is your own file in your Figma. Okay, so we are going to be working on this file only. You do not have edit access to my file. This is your own file in your account. That's pretty much basic, right? And once you do that, we need to create a new frame for this particular page. So you're going to do that by clicking on the frame option on the top panel. In case you get confused with any of the tool that I'm saying, where is it or something like that, just look around. If you look on the top, it's almost all the software that we use have the tools on the top. It has the compared to Photoshop and Illustrator, it has the layer panel on the side. It has some extra settings on the other side. So if I say the name of a tool and you are not on speed with it, just put your mouse over the top and you will get that tool on top. So don't worry, it will be right there somewhere. That is one of the main features of Figma. Like, it is very minimal. If you open Photoshop or Illustrator, you'll be attacked with a huge number of small icons. You'll get confused in the beginning itself. In this case, everything is simple and minimal. Just click on the frame icon here. Select any phone layout from this list, Pixel or Pixel 2 or iPhone, anything you want, it's your wish. I am going with the Google Pixel 2. I have clicked on it and I got a frame here. Yeah, okay. So we'll just continue from now. And if you want to like move around your document really quickly, just hold down the spacebar and your cursor turns into the hand tool. Okay, the frame one. I'll repeat the frame one once more, but we are on a tight schedule and we have already passed half an hour. So after this, I'll be speeding up things. Okay, the frame tool is right on top over here. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 options. Did I count that wrong? 7 options at the maximum, and one menu over here. So whatever thing I tell you to do will be right up here only. So don't be confused. Just look around and you will find it. So we are creating a background image for whatever we are building on. So if you are going to build whatever template that you want to build, you have to click on the frame icon first, and you will get a menu bar on this side right here. Right here you'll get it, and you can select whatever template you want from here. In this case, we are making a mobile app UI. So I have selected phone, and from phone I have selected Google Pixel 2 XL, which is my preference. If you want, you guys can select any other phone from this list, no problem. So once you click on that, you will get a new frame here. So I have already created a new frame here, so I'll be going with that. If you want to delete the frame, just click on the frame and press the delete button on your keyboard, or right click and you can delete it too, I guess. There's no delete option. Okay. Okay, just click on the delete button and you can delete the frame from your screen if you have created more than one frame. Or click on the frame panel, click on Google Pixel 2 XL and you will get a template. Okay, so we'll go ahead with this now. So the next thing you want is to place elements on top of this to make it look like this, right? So when you're designing something, the two main factors, okay, this is going to be some theory for some time. So while I'm talking continuously, just catch up to what I've done till now. The two main factors that you're going to watch out for any UI that you create. The first most important thing is, okay, maybe three things. The first most important thing is the accessibility, which is basically user experience. So you can build an app with like hundreds of thousands of features. But if a person opens it and he doesn't know what is happening, where is it happening, then it is no use. The app is going to be a big failure. I'll give you an example. It's not a really good example, but I'll give you an example. Telegram, you know the messaging app Telegram, right? Telegram is amazing. Like from a developer's point of view or from a normal person's point of view, Telegram has like I don't even know how many features. WhatsApp doesn't have half as many features as Telegram, and most of the new updates by WhatsApp are basically features that are already existing in Telegram. But still, WhatsApp is the #1 messaging app. Why is that? Why is that? Because Telegram is awesome. Telegram has a lot of features. All that is true. But WhatsApp is very simple. WhatsApp, anyone can use it. Even a person with zero knowledge can simply open WhatsApp. If he can read, he can use WhatsApp. That's it. It's as simple as that. So there's a huge difference in building a minimal interface which is accessible to everyone, which is easily modifiable by everyone, those kind of stuff. So that is one of the most important things. The second thing I would tell you is font selection. So we back in 2010 and all, I guess we had this belief that if you use maybe 10 or 20 fonts on the same document, it makes it look amazing. I guess back then when I believed that, we had all the word art and everything from Microsoft Office, remember? All the word art, all the 3D word arts and everything. We were just filling it with our projects and everything. So fast forward to 2020, everything is minimal now. Everything needs to be like, everything needs to be pixel perfect. Everything needs to be neat and clean if you want to give it an eye-catching approach. So if you're creating a new project, go with 2 or 3 fonts at the maximum. And among those 3 fonts, use the 2 fonts in almost your entire design. Don't mix many fonts together unless you're inserting some image or something which has lots of fonts. Then don't think just leave that. Otherwise, for all the text and all the content that you're using on your app or website or whatever, or poster or whatever is it, use 3 fonts at maximum for a big project. Use 1 or 2 fonts at maximum if you're going to create something simple like this. So I have used 3 fonts in this case. The first one is 2 of them are my personal favorites at the moment. I was obsessed with Montserrat. It's another font a few months back, but now I have moved on finally, I guess. The first font that I have used is just double click on this. You may not have this font and you don't have to use the same fonts that I did. These 2 fonts have actually been installed by me on my computer. I don't think it is available inbuilt. So you have a huge selection of fonts inbuilt into Figma and from your computer. They're available over here. So just select any 2 fonts that you want. No need to use the same fonts as me. You may not have it, okay? So the first font that I have used is Web as New, which is kind of a heading kind of font. You want the link for the fonts. Uh, the second font that I've used is Munrope. Munrope is a Google font. So just go to Google and type Munrope. Munrope font. Just type Munrope font, and the first link that comes up will be Munrope Google fonts. But no need to go do this now. You'll just waste your time and you will get left behind. Just use any two fonts available within Figma. You don't have to download this specific font. Okay, just go to this page and you can download the file here. And in the second case, the other font that I've used is Bebas New, which also you can download online. Both of these are free fonts; they're not paid or anything. Even Bebas New is available in Google Fonts. That's perfect. Okay, so go to Google Fonts, and you can download Bebas New too. So, but no need to do that now. Trust me. Just go ahead using any other two fonts that you have. And the third most important factor is the color combination. So color combination plays a very important key, because if you just fill it up with a lot of colors, it's going to look really bad. It's not going to be eye-catching at all. It will not highlight anything. I'll give you some really good examples. Go to this old CBSE website and you will. I used to cry watching the CBSE website. I used to think in like maybe 7th or 8th standard, I can build better than this. So color combination is very important. Font selection is very important. How to add Google Fonts in Figma? You don't have to add Google Fonts in Figma. Just you're not adding it to Figma. Just download the font from here. You will get a zip file, I believe. Once you do that, you will get a zip file. Just start the download. You will get that file. Open that file, and you'll probably need WinRAR or something. So just trust me and go ahead with whatever fonts are available on your system right now. So basically, you can download the font from here. And once you do that, you will get a zip file with the font inside. Double click on the TTF file or the OTF file, depending on the file. Just double click on it, and you can install it onto your system. Just press install. I already have the font, obviously, so I don't need to install it again. But in your case, please do that and install the font. And I think you may have to do one more thing for fonts to work on your browser. Go to the 3 lines over here. Go to the menu over here, and go back to your files. No need to do this. Trust me, don't do this with me. Go to this section, go to your account section, and you can actually, local fonts are enabled in my case. You can actually install font helper, but no need to do this now. I'm just saying it. Just use any other 2 fonts that are available in your system. Don't waste time doing this, please. Okay, so we'll get back to our making of the interface. Okay, so we have created a frame, and I have told you 3 things. One is keep it minimal. Other is use good fonts, and you can actually Google the fonts. Just Google good font combinations, FONT combinations, and they will give you recommendations as to, like, see, this is one font, this is another font, like 2 fonts that look good together, Lato and Meriwether, Montserrat and Cardo, like. Or you can just select 2 fonts which look good together on your own. But if you Google, you can get a result of what fonts look good together. And the same goes for color combinations. You can Google color combos, and you will get good color combinations that work together. What I usually do is I just go to images and I just select something from this, or I select my own color combination, or I make my own color combination. It's your wish. Or we will have an idea, right, when we use 2 colors together. If you use like a very light green and very light yellow together, it's not going to look good, obviously. So just make your own color combinations, or Google and get some color combinations. That's up to you. In my case, I have given you the color combinations that I have used right here, so we can just take the colors from here. You don't have to go anywhere. So what we have done here, so let's move on to the working part, because we will not have time if we keep this up. So we have the frame that we have created here by clicking on the frame button and selecting whichever frame we wanted from the list. And you have a new frame here. So once that is done, what we need is to create this layout. So in this case, I have used 2 images. This is not something I designed myself. I just downloaded it from a website. And this is another site that is going to be very helpful to you guys, which is flaticon.com. Flaticon.com. You can visit the site right now, but no need to do that. If you have really good internet connection and you are keeping up with me until this point, you can do this. Otherwise, please don't do this. Use the icons that I have given you right here. Just listen. No need to do this. Okay. Go to the Flaticon site. You can either create an account or log in, or you can just search for an icon here. So I guess I searched for user for getting those. I searched user. No need to do this with me. I'm repeating this again. I already have given you those 2 icons in the Figma file. You don't have to do this with me, okay? And yeah, here is one of the icons that I have used. This is the first icon that I have used, and I have downloaded this icon in SVG format and not PNG format. I'll tell you why very soon. And I scrolled down and I just took this one from here too. You have a huge number of selection from which you can choose on. I just selected this one and this one, and I downloaded them as SVG. Just click on download, free download, and you can download the file as SVG. I'll tell you why I used SVG and not PNG in 1 second. Okay, so I have already downloaded it. I'm now going to download it again, and even you don't have to download it. I have already given you the file. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll close Flaticon for now. So these two files are here now, and I'll show you real quick why I used SVG and not PNG. So this is the SVG file with this symbol here, SVG, and this is the PNG file. So the difference between PNG and SVG is PNG is a fixed file. You can't edit the file. So I'm going to import the PNG file also here now. As you can see, it has come as an image file. I can't do anything on this. All I can do for this file is I can replace this file with something else, but we don't want that. We want to be able to edit our files. So I'll just delete this and I'll import the SVG file that I have. No need to do this. You have the file right here. No need to do this. Okay, don't get confused. No need to do this. So this is the file. This is the same file that I have over here, and this is the SVG file. Now you can notice the difference. The SVG file has come as a frame of its own. If you expand the frame, you can actually edit all the individual pieces of this vector. You can change the color of whatever you want. You can remove elements. You can replace the elements. You can do all these things. You cannot do this if you have a PNG file. You need an SVG file for this, which is why I downloaded the SVG file from Flaticon. Yeah. So another thing that I said before was basically I chose this color combination after downloading this icon. I just extracted these two colors from this icon. But the next case is that we have also the male icon over here, and the male icon is not following the same thing. So I tried a few color combinations which mixed this light orange shade and this red shade, and it was not working out. It was looking really bad. So what I did was I changed the color of the male icon to match the female icon. To do this, like I said, you need the SVG file, not the PNG file. So because I have the SVG file, I am able to edit all the colors on this person. So all I did was, even you don't have to do this either. You can just, or you can do this along with me. You can just take the icon from here, or you can do this along with me. So when you click on a frame in Figma, on your right side, it will show you all the colors present in that selection, which is a very neat feature, I must say. Just click on the double click on this icon on the red male icon, and you will have a selection of the frame on your layer panel. Double click on the red male icon, you will have a selection of the frame on your layer panel on the left side. Expand that person's frame, and what you can see on your right side now is all the selection colors that you have used in this particular vector. So click on see all 10 colors, and these are all the colors that have been used in this particular vector. So what we want is, we want this vector to match the color of this vector. So all you have to do is see, what I observed over here is these three colors you can see, right? E84857 2 3. They're basically lighter shades of each other. This is the darkest one, this is lighter, and this is lighter. It's basically going down. The same case in this icon also, what I can see is they have used a light version of this color, sorry, a dark version, a lighter one, a lighter one. So all I did was I clicked on the red male icon, I clicked on the selection colors, and I expanded it on the right side. And then I clicked on the first darkest red shade, and I used the color picker tool. If you guys are used to putting WhatsApp statuses, you may know what this is. You can select whichever color you want from the image that you have. So just click on the color picker tool over here and click on the darkest shade on the girl, which is this color right here, I'm guessing. So just click on the darkest shade over here, and this becomes that dark shade. Simple as that. Now close this color and select the second one. So we have successfully transformed the first dark color into we have replaced the red color with the dark color on the girl, on the male. Now click on the second color that is over here. Take the color picker tool and select the next color, which is this one right here. We selected this first, Now we are selecting this one, which is right below this one.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
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 Hello. Anand case,
Hello.
please put the call on
Hello.
mute. Okay, he has been muted. Thank you. Okay, so we will select the second darkest color available after this, which is this one. Select that, and you can see that this color has now changed to a lighter shade of this one. And finally, we have the third color, which is this one. Click on that, select the color picker tool, and select the lightest shade from this element. And now we have an extra, almost an exact replica, I must say. So, like you can see, I should have zoomed in before. Sorry. This is the dark shade, this is a lighter, and this is the lightest. So what we did is we transferred these three colors from this person, this female icon, to this male icon. Okay, I'm not going to. My voice is breaking. Are the rest of you facing the same problem? Okay, it's not. It's probably your problem. Just check your problem. Okay, check your internet. Thank you. So we have two icons with the same color here, same color combination here. So now we have gotten rid of the red color issue, and what I have done is I have used them both over here. So now we'll place these two guys onto our layer. So once again, hold down the shift button and you can drag to reach here. Okay. But right now what you want to do is select these two. Just click on this once. I have already put them together in under one single group as icons. Just click once on this, drag it to the right, and place it inside your frame. That's it. It's simple as that. Just drag it inside and place it inside your frame, and just place it wherever you want. If you like play around with your mouse for like just moving it slowly along this, you will get the exact center of the document. So you will have a guide that appears in the middle to place it at the exact center. Just move it slowly across the frame, and you will get a line in the center showing you that you have reached the center. Place it over there, and that is done. Okay. Oh God, I don't think we're going to make it in time. 8 o'clock. I'm going to speed things up now. So it's pretty simple. All the tools are pretty simple. All the things you're going to do is pretty simple. And once we create one page, creating the other pages are very easy. You can just create duplicates and just edit those duplicates. So we'll just go fast from now onwards. So we have successfully placed the two icons over here, And the next thing we need is this black background for the rest of the document. For doing that, go to the top again. This time, do not the frame selection. Select the rectangle tool over here. If you click on this, you have multiple shapes actually. You have a star, polygon, ellipse, arrow, line, rectangle. Select the rectangle tool. You can either select it from here or you can click R on your keyboard. Just click the letter R. Just select it from here. That will be better. Click on the icon here. Come back to your frame that is right here. Has someone turned on their mic? So I'm hearing something else right now. Okay. Yeah. Come back to your frame over here. Click on the rectangle tool and come back to your frame over here and just place it nicely on the side and just hold down your mouse button and draw a rectangle. Drag it all the way to the bottom of the document and just place it perfectly over there so that it fits the size. I'm zooming in and out by holding down the control button and using my scroll on my key on my mouse. Okay. Hold down your control button and you can scroll in and out. And you can move across this document by holding down the spacebar key and just moving around. When you let go of your spacebar, it comes back to your move tool. Use these shortcuts to make your life easier, technically. Okay, so now we have our frame, which is the Google Pixel 2 XL. We have two icons on the top inside it, and we have a rectangle that we have drawn inside it. So click on the rectangle and you can resize it to wherever you want. I'm going to resize it till here. And once make sure that the rectangle is selected, just click on it and you'll get this blue line around it, so you'll know that it is selected. Come to the right side panel and you have an option to fill over here. Click on this, click on the color inside the fill, and you can change the color of your document of the rectangle to whatever you want. Okay, so in our case we are going to use which colors? We're going to use this color code right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the color picker tool again, and we're going to click on this color here, so we'll get that exact shade. It is not completely black, it is a lighter shade of black. So just click over here and you'll get that. Or optionally you can just enter the color code, which is 1F1F1F, but that's your wish. Just click on it and make it this color and close the color panel, and we're done with that. So now we have two icons, we have the background all set. Okay, the next thing we need is to add the heading, the title and the tagline and 2 buttons, okay, for logging in and signing up. For creating this text box, it's very simple. Again, go to your top left panel and click the T symbol over here, which is the text box. You have a text box right on top over here, if you can see me. Or if you can't view that, just press on T. Press the T key on your keyboard. T for T. Oh damn. Okay. T for table. Yeah. Okay. T for table. Click on T, and you will have the text box icon on your cursor. This is the text box icon. This plus sign that you're seeing right here. Now just draw a text box, or either you can draw a text box, or you can just click on the screen and you will have a you'll have a cursor right there. It's better if you draw a text box. So just what you got to do is select the text icon from the top and draw a text box over here, just like that. And once you do that, you can start typing inside it. So I named my app Portfolio, and my default font is Bebas New. That is why it's coming by default. If this is not the font you want, just click on this text box and go to this font selection right here and select one font from this list, whichever that you want. I'm going to go with Bebas New. And once you do that, we need to center this text. You can center this text by going. This is the whole text settings panel. You're going to edit everything related to your text from here. So what we have done now is we have made a new text box by pressing T, creating a text box, typing in the value, typing in the name of our app, and then we are going to use these tools right here to center this text. Just click on this icon here. You're all familiar with this icon, right? We've been using for years in Word, in Google Docs, everything. This is a very common icon for centering your text, and you can use this to align your text to the middle of the text box. So we have a text box now with this text written inside it, and it is in the center of the text box. Now just select this text as a whole. Again, come to the fill option right here, the same place where you made the background black. Remember, come here, click on the color and change the color to white or anything that you prefer. But I'm going to follow this same color code that I have done before. And for a small, variety, what I did was I changed the color of the C, because portfolio is basically a word and portfolio is something that I just made randomly. So double click on your text again, you'll get a full selection. But instead of that, just select C from here, and you can individually change the color of C. So use the color picker tool and just select this, and you have the color of only C changed. And maybe just resize it so it fits perfectly. Just resize the text box, or it's not needed. Just you get what to do, right? So enter the text, change the color of C, and you're done with that. And now the next thing that we have to do is type in the tagline, your portfolio on the go. For doing that, what we do is create another text box, the same process. Click on the screen, your portfolio on the go. Just type it. Don't mind it filling that screen or anything. And then press Control A and select the whole text, or just double click. Okay, you have to press Control A. Press Control A and select the whole text. Come to the text panel again, and you will have an option to change the size value right here. You can see this, right? Change the size value to maybe 50 or something, and you will have it in that size. Or I'll make it 35. Okay, I made it 35, so now on 35. Now click outside the text box, and you will have it as a layer here, and drag it under your portfolio. It's as simple as that. Just move your mouse along, hold down your mouse and just move it along until the line comes in the middle, indicating that you have reached the perfect center, like this, and let go of it. Now once again, you need to change the color of this text. So go to the fill panel on the right, click on the color, click on your selection tool, and just click on this color, and you will have this text right here. And in this case, I have used my secondary font. So the heading gets the big font size. This is basically a font which is used in headings and etc. And for the tagline, I have used a font called Monroe, like I was saying before, which I have on my system. You may not have it. If you don't have it, no need to go and install it now. Just use another font for now. And within Monroe, I have options of extra light, regular, medium, semi-bold, etc., etc. I'm going to go with medium in this case. And now it looks kind of big, so I'll make it a little more smaller. I'll make it 25. And I'll just place it in the middle again, and that's that. So yeah, okay. In today's case, we'll have to end with the session, but maybe I think we'll do one thing. We'll place the session later on which is more detailed, and maybe we can cover it in like 2-3 days. Because when I understand, when I am explaining it, I understand that it's not like it's too much information to be grasped at the same time. Okay, yeah, okay. So we have that done, and now we are going to create the login and the sign up boxes, which is pretty much simple. Come to your frame over here and create a rectangle again. The same rectangle that you have created in the background, remember, click on that tool and create a small rectangle here, and come to the fill icon, change the color of your rectangle using the color picker. Once that is done, this is a perfect rectangle, which is kind of cliche because we see rectangles everywhere. We're going to make it minimal and we're going to match it up to the the modern times by giving it rounded corners. It's very simple to do that. Just click on this rectangle, and you have an option for corner radius right here on top. I'm going to stay here for some time so you guys can reach it. The corner radius option is right here. Edit this corner radius to maybe 10 or something, and you will have perfect. You will have a corner radius of 10. You can increase this value to see this shape being modified. I guess the maximum this rectangle can go up to is 48 or 49 something. We're going to go with 10, and 10 is kind of a good shape for this rectangle. And now we're going to place a text box inside on top of this rectangle. So just create another text box from the top, click inside the rectangle, and type in login. It's as simple as that. So we have a login box, a login written on text. Double click on the login, just transform it however you want. I'm going to go with the semi-bold version of Monroe, and just expand this text box so it meets the size of, it meets the width of this rectangle. Just make it big, and then increase the size value by some. Okay, I may not be using a lot of conventional methods here. If there are any pros in Figma in the call, please forgive me for that. But this works, right? This may not be the perfect method to do this, but it works for me. So, and once you're learning along, you may reach the industry standard. So I have created a rectangle on the background, and I have created the another text box on top of it. Now what we have to do is combine this rectangle and this text box together into one single group, because that will make our life so much more easier. So come to your layers panel. You have the login button on top, login text button. You can see it by the T denoted here. And you have the rectangle that you have created over here. Just find that it's not this rectangle, oh, just that rectangle, sorry. This rectangle 13 is the huge rectangle that you have created in the background. The names may differ in your case. Find the rectangle you created for this particular login button, which is this one, and hold down your control button on your keyboard and click on the login button. So you'll have a selection of them both together. Now, if you use the move tool, see, they move together. They don't move as single layers, they move together. And once you do that, you can either press Ctrl and G to group them together, or you can just select them both and just right click, and you have an option to group selection right here. You can do this, or you can make your life easier by just selecting this and this together and just press Ctrl G. It will automatically become a group. And if you want to like keep your entire design layers and everything clean, just make it a habit to rename your layers as you go. So I'm going to rename this as login. And within the login group, what do we have? We have the login text box and we have the login rectangle. I can minimize it, and I have one single element, which is the login text box. Now, if I resize this box, you can see that the text is automatically being centered. It is kind of responsive now. So that makes our life more easier. So just minimize the size to a particular size that you want, and just click on it and select it as a whole and place it in the center. You can just move it along like this, and you will get that indication orange line in the middle showing you that you have reached the center. Now, to create the sign up button, you don't have to repeat these steps again. No, you don't. Just click on the login button as it is. Hold down Alt, okay? Hold down Alt, and your mouse icon changes from a single pointer to a double pointer. If you can see that on the screen. Hold down Alt button and drag it, and you will have a copy of this login layer. And then let go of your mouse button, let go of Alt, okay? Just hold down the layer that you want to duplicate. Click on the layer that you want to duplicate, hold down the Alt button and drag, and you will have a duplicate of that layer. So we already have one. I'll just delete this. So we have one login button and we have another login button now. But what do we want this to be? We want this to be the sign up. So just double click on this text and type in sign up. and that's it. You have a login button and a sign up button. And now one thing you have to change is both these layers will be named login right now because you made a duplicate, obviously. So just select the sign up button that you have. It will show a blue box around it, and rename this login to sign up. Okay. Do this or you will be completely confused by the time you have completed your project. You will not be able to find anything. So keep a neat profile by renaming your layers as you go, because that is really, really important. Okay. So what color have I used in the second case? I have used a darker shade. Yeah. Okay. So the color, I guess, is from this from the female icon's hair, I'm guessing. So click on the sign up button. And another great feature about Figma is if you click on a group or a frame, it will show you all the colors in that. So you can individually change a color. If I want to change only the text in this, I can change only the text in this. Understand? If I want to change only the background layer, I can change it to which color was it? To this color, right? So I'll just take the color picker tool and I'll select her hair, and we have the sign up button in this color. And optionally, if you want, you can change the text to white because it looks better. And so now we have our homepage ready, which is the portfolio code with our tagline, our login button, our sign up button, and our two icons. So this is a minimal design that I have created. You can feel free to use this in any way you want. Okay, you can feel free to modify it in any way that you see. Okay, so we have successfully completed one page in 1 hour time. So it's not going that good, but let's see where it goes. So the next thing we're going to create is the login page. And luckily, once we create the login page, we can just duplicate it and edit it to create the sign up page. So we won't be wasting so much time here. So now that you guys are pretty much familiar with all the tools and everything by creating this one page, I'm going to go through this super fast. So please excuse me on that. So once again, what is the obvious thing that we have to do now? One more thing, just rename your whole entire frame. Just double click on the name right here and you can edit it. I'm going to rename it as landing 2. Okay, because we already have a landing page here. You don't want to get confused. I'm going to rename it as landing 2. So now please, one of you can tell me what is the next thing that we have to do. What we want is another page which is login. So what should we do next? What did we do? What was the first step that we did when creating the landing page? We have to do the same thing again. So what is that? Anyone? New frame. Yeah, perfect.
You can press S and then select the phone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Terence, that is correct. And thank you others for answering too. Press on F and you will get your new frame button. Just press on F and you can create a new frame, or you can go to the top and you can create a new frame. Again, this time make sure that you select whichever phone you have selected before, because we are creating it for one specific layout. So don't select Google Pixel first and then select iPhone and then select something else. Press on Google Pixel again. Okay, if you have selected something else, select that in this case. So now we have a new frame, and now we need to create what? The login page. So for creating the login page, what do we need to do? We need, I have one layer here, I have one entire layer here, and this keyboard is basically pure design actually, and I have taken it from another Figma file. I did not design this keyboard on my own. This keyboard is literally designed, like each and every single element has been designed in Figma by some person, and he was kind enough to give it to us. You can get a lot of templates for Figma online. You can create like beautiful, amazing minimal designs. So this was someone else's design. I just took the keyboard, and now you guys are going to take it from me, because I honestly don't think I'll be able to sit myself down and create this whole thing from scratch. Okay, so the next page that we need is the login page, and on top of the login page, what do we have? We have a back button and we have a login button, which is inside one single frame. So we have back, we have login, and we have a rectangle behind it. Let's just hold on the rectangle for now. We'll create the back and login. So you guys can do this on your own. I'm not going to explain it in detail like I did before. Click on a text box, create a new text box, type in back, create a new text box, type in login again, or just create a duplicate of this login from here, but just type in login. It's simple, right? Place them on the same line together. You can actually get the perfect the layer. They'll show you the guides on if they're at the same line or not, which is another extra helpful feature. This is why the latest generation is more focused on pixel perfect designs. Like every single pixel should be perfect, like all the things perfectly aligned with each other. That is what people are looking for now, and Figma is actually helping us in a very, very huge way to do that. So now we have back and login here. I'm not going to create it exactly like I did in this case. In this case, I guess I have login in a bigger size and I have back with this small symbol here. you can just type in an inline, you can use the inline bracket from your keyboard for creating that, or you can download an icon or something from flat icon. That is not required in this case. Just use this guy. Sorry, just use this guy from here. Just use this guy. Just type this on your keyboard and place it along with back in the same line, and just click on this and back together and control G, and what happens? They become one single group together, remember, because they're going to be together from now on. We don't want them sitting apart in two different places. So just select this. Oh, sorry, why did I make it so hard? You don't have to do all that. Just type it inside this text box only, right? Just type this thing inside the text box only. Yeah. So we have one single text box with this, and we have the login thing here. So since this is a page, I thought I would make the login text a little more bigger than this to make it kind of look like a title for this page, obviously. And I'll make the back a little more smaller. Do this if you want, or just leave it as it is, because the more weightage is being given to login in this case, because back is to return back to your previous page. Login is the hero of this frame, right? Okay. So what is next? The next thing we have is another black background here. Pretty much simple what you did in this case. Create a new rectangle, place it here, draw it till the bottom, change the color to this color. Don't change the color to pure black because that is not matching with each other. Just use the same color elements in all the pages that you're using, okay? So that is done. Now we need a keyboard mockup. You can download this from this link actually, Minimal UI Kit. Download as in create a copy of this Figma file, just like you created a copy of this Figma file. I'll leave this link in the description too. No need to open it now, just save it for later. This link will give you a UI kit. I'll show you the UI kit actually. Like close Figma, no, right? This is the UI kit. This was created by some other person. I made a copy of it. This is not mine. And this guy was crazy. I think he pretty much created every single thing from scratch in Figma. A lot of respect to whoever made this. The status bar. This is the minimal interface of a standard Android phone, a stock Android phone, I guess. And all the typography, all the fonts that are being used, all these things are there. The title. You can create a perfect minimal stock Android app mockup from by using these elements, which is completely free too. So I have given you the link. If you want to use this, you can use this. But in my case, all I took was the keyboard from here. So let's return back. We already have the keyboard in my demo, so just copy it from there. No need to take your, no need to go to the link and create a copy and all that. Just take it from here. You know how to make a duplicate, right? One second. My rectangle is filling the frame. How to fix it inside the frame? If your rectangle is filling the frame, click on the rectangle and resize it. You can resize the rectangle individually. See, in this case, it is filling the frame. Just click on the top over here and resize it. You can resize the rectangle by just going to the sides, and make sure you are on the move tool. Okay, make sure you're on move tool and not scale or something. Press on V on the keyboard and you can resize it as you want. Okay, I hope that clears that. So that's that. And like I was saying, create a copy of this keyboard. Hold down Alt button, drag it, and place it here. And then let go of the mouse button, and then you have a new layer. Just place it here. You have a keyboard here. And I'm going to speed up through these things because it is basically repeating all the things that I've said before. We are going to create one rectangle. I'll tell you the breakdown in this case. This is one rectangle with this text on top of it. This is another rectangle with this text on top of it. This is the password as another text layer. This is the email as another text layer. Then we have the login button, which I just created a copy from here and changed the color. Then we have a few text boxes here. That's it, okay? So I'm not going to explain all that. I'm just going to create it fast. So what I'm going to do is create one box right here. I'm going to give it an edge radius of 10. Then I'm going to place it in the exact center of this thing. Then I'll create a text box. I'll type it inside it. I'll type in my email ID. And don't worry if I'm not able to complete the session completely, because basically all the other things that come now are basically repetition of what we just did. You are familiar with all the tools now, and this is all that Figma is, like on a basic level. Figma is much more advanced, of course, but whatever tools that we have already discussed now, you can create the exact same replica of this, or you can create an even better replica of this with what we have just covered now. So if you're not able to finish the entire thing. Don't worry, this is simple, you can do it on your own. So I'll just place it here, then I'll create another text box. I'll give it as a heading as email ID. I'll place it over here. I'll change the color to white, and then I'll just group these guys together because this is my login and this is my email ID box. So I'll just select the rectangle, I'll select the text box, and I'll select this text box. Hold down the shift button to do this. You can select all of them and Control G. They will all come under one group. Rename the group to email and create a copy of this email. Yeah, rename that email to what? Password. Edit this email text to password and edit this thing to this thing. You can enter this value. Just copy it from mine. So you guys understand, right, how to do this? So I'll just delete these guys and I'll just copy it from there. That will be also. I'll just delete these guys and I'll copy it from there because I don't have we don't have time to make it pixel perfect at the moment. So I'll just select this group. Like you can see, I have done it as password. We have one text layer with these dots in it. We have another text layer with the password heading, and we have a rectangle as the filling in box. And for the case of email, I have a text box with email. I have a text box with my email, with the text email ID, and I have a rectangle. I'll just grab these guys from here. Also the login button and the forgot password and the new user sign up button, because it's you know how to create this, right? I don't have to explain. So I'll just create a copy here and I'll place it in the center. Yeah, I have it right here now. So that's that. We have a login page with us. And once the login page is done, what do we need? We need a sign up page. And for the sign up page, we'll just change the name of this frame also to login. And now we have a landing page, which is this guy, and we have a login page, which is this guy right here. It's 7:14. I'm going to go super fast now, okay? So we have two guys right here. And once you have a login page, I'll name it login 2 to not make it confusing. Sorry. Once you have a login page, just create an exact duplicate of this whole frame, okay? No need to create a new frame again. Click on the frame as a whole, hold down Alt button, and create a duplicate of the entire frame. We don't want to waste any time, right? And now it has been named login 3 because this was login 2. It has automatically been named login 3, but this is going to be our sign up actually. So rename it to sign up. Edit this login as sign up. And in sign up, what comes extra? In this case, we just need to enter our email ID and password and click on the login button. In the case of the sign up page, there's a name also. And depending on your app, depending on what category of app you are making, you may have more fields or less fields. This is just a simple design. So the exact same thing, just create a duplicate of this email ID and change the value as name and enter the name value below 2. That's all you have to do. So I'm not going to do all that again. So what we have here is one thing I did was interchange the colors. So that is really important. So if you're using a color combination of this color and this color, basically these two colors, I have the login page designed after the sign up button color. So as you can see, the login button is same in both pages. So that will create a lasting impression on the user. So when the user sees this color, he will automatically, his brain will focus on, oh, this is login. And in this case, you can see that the sign up button is in the sign up button color in the same home page. So these kind of things are very important. You need to have a continuation of the colors in different ways. If you give these two colors here, then you give red and green here, then you give yellow and magenta here, it will be really, really bad. Trust me. Okay. So in the login page, the text box was this dark color and the login button was this light color. In the sign up page, the text boxes are the same color as the login button. And the sign up page is the same color as the sign up button. So we'll just clear these guys from here. All the other things are exactly the same. Back, sign up. I edited this login to make it sign up. These things remain the same. And I changed the name of the frame. Do change that or you will get confused when you go further into this. Change it to sign up 2 actually. Yeah. Okay, so next thing we need is these three guys. So pretty much the same thing. Just edit these boxes. I'm talking with the assumption that you will not be having this template like I gave you, right? So in that case, just to make a copy of these guys, change the colors and edit it as you please. But right now we're just going to copy it from here and the user, create a copy and we're going to place it here. You won't be able to do this when you're designing your own thing from scratch. Obviously, you will need to design these pages individually, of course, but you understand that, right? So that is done. And within the sign up layer frame, we now have a password box, we have an email box, we have a login box. Oh, it's a name login. I didn't change the name. We have a sign up button, sign up, password, email, sign up, already a user, and the email box. So this is the entire thing that we have taken from there. Find the center, place it there, and that's done. So now we have, just move the sign up a bit. Okay. Now we have the name, email ID, password, and we have the back and the sign up buttons. If you want to achieve like perfection on your design, I would recommend enabling the guide option, which is go to the menu section, go to view over here. Sorry, not guide, sorry, rulers, and select rulers from here. Okay, or you can just press Shift R. I was already having rulers, that is why it disappeared right now. Press Shift R and you will get these brand new rulers on top, and you can just drag down from here to create a ruler on your page. So as you can see, my email ID and this name are not on the same line together. So I can fix those kind of things, understand? And you can also take it vertically from this side and just place one here and place one here. And you can maintain that perfection everywhere. And when you copy this frame again, the rulers will get copied along with it. That is another wonderful feature. So you will achieve that pixel perfect thing, that pixel perfect design that you've been wanting to, not wanting to, that you require using the rulers, obviously. Okay, I'm just going to clear these guys away now. And so now we have the login and the sign up page done. And the next page is pretty complicated. Basically, what I've done here is I just recreated my resume that I have built earlier. I actually built my resume in Figma too. So I just copied all the text from my resume and I pasted it here. So we don't have to do that. I'll just show you what was being done here. So obviously I created a new frame in this case. So I went to the frame option. I selected Google Pixel 2 and I placed it here. And in this case, you can see it has exceeded the size, but it has not exceeded the width. It has exceeded the height. The height has been exceeded because I have enabled this section to be a scrolling section. When you're making a prototype, you actually can include some kind of animations and features, but there is no backend. You cannot code in this. There is no functionality. It is just the simplest way I can describe a Figma prototype would be as a slideshow, an advanced slideshow. That is the best way I can define a Figma prototype. You're basically creating a slideshow using design, but when you click at specific places, it goes to specific places. So you get an entire app-like feel. So in the real industry out there, what happens is UI UX designers, they create these mock-ups, these prototypes, and these wireframes in Figma, in Sketch, in Zeppelin, in Framer. All these are different tools. In Adobe XD, you guys must have heard of Adobe XD. All of these are prototyping tools similar to Sigma, each with their own different features. So these UI UX designers design these things using these tools, and then they pass on these designs to the developer, and the developer implements these designs in his code. So we are not the coding people here. We have no relation with the coding. We are the designers. All we are doing is designing and the layout and the perfect pixel perfect ratio maintenance, and most importantly, the user experience. Like I mentioned before, you can create an app with lots of features, but if you're just going to fill it up with a lot of buttons and weird things, it will not be accessible to the user. The user will just uninstall it the moment he downloads it because he won't be able to understand it. So user experience is very, very crucial in designing an app. Keep it simple, keep it minimal. You can actually do maybe a few courses. I won't recommend courses personally because they have done no use to me at all. I just skip the videos. I'm not able to sit down and view those videos, and I'm guessing that most of us are not. So the best way would be to like get a project or just decide I'm going to create a mock-up version of the Swiggy app or a mock-up version of Facebook app, and just dive right into it. Watch a few videos on YouTube, get started, do it on your own. I did not learn any of this by doing any course. I did not. I actually attended a session by Figma Kochi, which is a community for Figma developers in Kochi. So there was a session taken by my friend Vignesh. He was also a DSC lead. So he had taken a session, and I was kind of inspired by what he did, and that's how I got into Figma. And after that, I have not attended anything at all. all I've done is I've just Googled whatever doubts I had, and I've just watched a video, or I've gone to a site and read whatever is on it, and I've learned it on my own. And that is exactly what I'm asking you guys to do too. Don't waste your money on courses, and don't do. There are good courses, there are good free courses, but if you're going to do a course, dedicate yourself to it. If you're not going to be able to sit down and do that course, then please don't do it. Okay. So now we have a new frame, and I'm going to rename it as my profile page, of course, profile 2 in this case. And what we want is this thing. So I'm just going to edit the size, because I'm not sure what the size is going to be when I end it. I actually do know, because I have a template here, so I'll just create like that from the beginning itself. Oh wow, okay. So this is the exact size I'm going to be requiring, but when you guys make your own, or when you guys are doing something else, this may not be the case. So just extend it a little and keep it like that, because you know that you're going to be implementing a scroll view in this. So the top bar is pretty much simple, exactly the same as the backend login thing. Just create a rectangle on the background, okay. Oh, yeah, create a rectangle on the background and have a backend sign out in it, the exact same way that we did this. So no, I'm not going to create that again. I'll just create a copy of this and I'll place it here. What are prototypes? Yeah, we'll be making a prototype before we end the session. Hopefully, because that is what I wanted to show you guys mainly. The prototype is, I'll just give you a single line explanation, and I'll show you the whole thing, don't worry. A prototype is basically a mock-up of this app. Like, if you click on login, it will go to this page. If you click on sign up, it will go to the sign up page. If you click on back, it will go back. But there is no code involved. It is basically, like I said, a slideshow, but a more advanced slideshow. I'll show you how to make a mock-up, how to make a prototype out of this. Okay, so I'll just copy this header to the profile page over here. So we have that, and the next thing I made was another rectangle background. I'll just break down this and go. I don't think we have time to create it and go. So this is basically one single group, and within that group is a rectangle in the background. So this rectangle is basically a rectangle that I drew like this. Then I gave it a radius of maybe 20 or something, and then I changed the color to black. And then what I did was not black, I changed the color to our color combination black, and then I placed my image inside it. This is what I did. So I'll just show you how to place an image, import an image from outside too. Just open your folder and select the image that you want and just pull it inside. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, just pull it inside and you'll have it directly in Figma. Resize it to your preference. So you can resize it. The thing is, if you don't hold down shift, I did not explain that, sorry about that. If you don't hold down shift while resizing, what happens is it goes crazy. It's like free transform, but we don't want that. What we want is we need it to be resized in the exact same ratio. So just hold down your shift button while resizing it. Okay. Okay, that's that. So I'll just scroll up here, and it needs to be smaller. I'll resize it again, and I had placed it in a circle actually. So, and one thing you can observe here is the width and the height is different. It is 93 into 97. So we will not get a perfect circle, because obviously if you want a perfect circle, you need a square, right? So what we'll do is we'll just crop this image real quick. Just select the image and you will have this option over here, the crop image option on top. Click on crop image, and you'll get this box around it. So right now you can see that it is 93 into 97. So we need to adjust the height of it. So we'll just slowly move up by clicking down, and yeah, we have cropped it to 93 into 93, which is what we wanted. And I'll just move the whole image a bit up, and yeah, press enter, and it is cropped. Now the width and height is perfectly matching each other. It is 93 into 93. Okay, and now I'll just click on this obviously, and I'll change the corner radius to what, 360. And I have a circle. It's as simple as that. This is why I fell in love with Figma actually. Everything is so simple. And then I'll just place it in the center maybe. And what I've done in this case is I have given a small, where did it go? Yeah, I've given a small outer stroke to the whole thing. You can see an extra layer here. You can do this by creating another circle behind this, but that is the long way around. We need to do that. Just select the image file and select stroke from the side menu. Click on the plus symbol over here, and you have a stroke in place, which is black in color. So just change that to some other color. I'll go with the I'll go with a darker shade of white, a grayish, and you can change this the thickness of the stroke by editing this value right here. So it is going into my image because this selection is in inside right now. Just change this inside to outside and you will have it outside your image. You don't need it this big. We'll keep it at 5 or something. Okay, we'll keep it at 4. And you can give a shadow effect to make it look a little more modern, a little more minimal, I guess. So click on the image again. Now you can see that stroke has been enabled here with a value of 4 and this color in place. You have a second tab right below it which says FX. Click on FX and click on drop shadow, and it is dropping a shadow right now. It is black, so you can't see it. I'll change it to white. Just click on the symbol and you can edit the values. Just click on the color over here and you can change the color to whatever you want, the shadow value. And you can also edit the position of the shadow. You can change the coordinates of the shadow. You can change the X and Y values. All these things can be done. So I'll just give it a very minimal effect. I think this black will be more than enough. We don't have to overcomplicate things. So we'll keep it at that. And now I'll just speed up through everything because we don't have time now. We only have half an hour and I want to show you the whole prototyping part. So I'll just explain this thing. You don't have to do it. Basically, all I've done here is create a rectangle, create a circle, create an image, convert that into a circle size by using the corner radius thing, given it a shadow, typed in a text, given a box behind it, exactly how we did all these things, place another text box, and then I grouped this whole thing together. So my profile, as you can see, this group file has the background rectangle. It has my photo in place. It has my name, which is another group, which has my name and the rectangle behind my name as one single group, and it has my designation right here. And I've placed all of them together in a single group. And similarly, all these things are groups like that. And basically, this is just text. I don't have to explain this to you guys, right? The only different thing that has come here is my email ID has the symbol of the email, the icon of email, sorry, over here. So I'll show you an easy way to do this. You don't have to go and download from a flat icon every single time. Figma has another beautiful feature known as plugins. So just go to this menu over here, or you can just right click on screen and you will have plugins here and click on manage plugins. And it opens up a new tab actually. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you have, oh, sorry. Okay. To create your own plugin. So we have, these are my installed plugins right here. Oh, I think you need the desktop app to access plugins. I did. Oh, no, you don't. I guess I wonder why that. Oh, I clicked on manage plugins. Sorry. Just click on plugins and I guess you'll have to go here then. Go to the menu tab over here, click on plugins and click on manage plugins. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but let's just go with that. And once you are in this page, just select plugins from here. That will be the best option. Just select plugins from this section over here and you'll have your plugins page. And this section shows you all your installed plugins. I have quite a lot of plugins because I've been trying different plugins out. And you have all the popular plugins right here. And if you scroll to the bottom of the list, you can actually browse all the plugins available under Figma. Has anyone turned on their audio? If yes, please switch it off. So this shows you all the plugins available. So we are going to select the second most popular plugin at the moment. It's known as Iconify. So just install Iconify. Don't need to do this now. It may take some time. No, installing is actually very fast. Is someone on? Is someone's audio on right now? Because I'm hearing some other sound in the background. If yes, please switch it off. Moderators, please check it and please turn off that sound. Okay. Anyway, once you install the Iconify plugin, go back to your this workstation and right-click, select plugins, and you will have Iconify in this list. So select Iconify from that, and you will have a small box open up with a lot of options. It should be coming right now. Yeah, you will have this box, which is actually a plugin for the Iconify thing, and you can simply search for whatever icon you want. In my case, I searched for email, I guess, and I'm getting like a lot of options for email, and I'm guessing by the look of this, I selected this icon right here. Just select it and drag it out, and you have the email within your layer as a vector, which means you can edit the color, you can change all the details of this thing. But I already have the email icon. Then the next thing I downloaded was the phone icon. again, I just selected one from this. When you're downloading icons and etc. for these kind of purposes, make sure you keep it uniform. As you can see, I have used almost the same kind of design and the same color for all my icons. Don't mix all the, like, I won't be using this mail icon right here. I will not be using this mail icon right here along with this phone icon, because they do not match together. Understand? So always go for similar looking icons. Keep your design minimal and the same. Sorry, I closed it. And the other things that I downloaded were the logos for what's this happening? Yeah. The other things I downloaded using Iconify were my the Behance logo, the LinkedIn logo, and the GitHub logo. You can do this on your own. I'm not going to take some time and say it. Just download those logos, place them along with the text box. So I have a group called mail over here, and I have the icon inside it, and I have my name tag inside it, and both of them are one single layer at the moment, one single group at the moment. So similarly, you can create all these things. Just create a text. You can just create a rectangle, insert the icon, place the text, place the icon, group them together, place them together. And what I did, this blackish color that you're seeing behind is I have given this rectangle what? I've given it a drop shadow effect. I've just given it a drop shadow effect. That is why you're seeing this blackish color under the shadow color under all these elements. If I unsee it, we call this unsee it. If I just off it, you can see the difference on the screen. You can see the color going and coming. So I've given that effect for all these guys. And these things are pretty much just text. I don't have to explain anything, I'm guessing. I just typed in a heading. I just typed in my college. I just typed in some values. And I've used another font in this case, which is Consolas. And this is obviously Manrope itself. And we have used Bebas New. That is why I said in the beginning, I've used only 3 fonts in this case. So just type in the text as you please. Make sure that you're happy with your design. You don't have to copy someone else. Make sure that you're happy with your design and your font selection, etc. And I just created multiple groups here. So if you view this side right here, you can see that I have a contact group for this whole email ID and phone number. I have a social group for my links. I have an education group for my education values. I have an achievement, I have an experience, and finally I have the rectangle. Why do I have this rectangle? We don't need that rectangle. Okay. So I have all these things here. Are you guys hearing some kind of disturbance in the audio, in the sound, or is it just me? Yes. Okay. I don't know what that is. I don't know someone else who had switched on their. Is it my mic? Oh, it is my mic. I'm so sorry about that. 1 second. Okay, I'll just remove my earphones. Is it gone now? I'm hoping it's gone now. It's gone, right? Okay, fine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that was me. That was not you guys. Anyway, so we have our copies of our layers right here, and we are at 7:35. So I'll just skip to the end now. So we have all these things created. Just do this on your own. It's pretty much simple. Oh, I forgot to mention this little guy over here. Sorry about that. So when you click on the sign up button, you will have some kind of pop-up, right, which says successfully signed up, something like that. So we need to create that too. So what I did was I just created a rectangle. I just turned the edges. I gave the edges a 30-degree radius. I just gave a text box which says sign up successful, and I created another box with the login button on it. So what I want is when I click on the sign up button, this thing should come up on top of the screen. And when I click on this login button, it should go to the login page. So these are the total number of things that we have created here today. Okay, so I hope I was clear to this part. So I'll just hide these guys for now, because we'll just work with what I created before. That will be easier, I think. Yeah. You guys don't need to hide that, okay? I'm just doing it so we'll have the full thing right here. So now we have a login page. We have a home page. We have login. We have sign up, and we have the final page. Okay. So yeah, one thing I need to mention here in the profile page was that to make this thing scrollable. Like when you scroll up and down, you want the settings and sign out button to be fixed on top of the screen. You want this thing to be fixed on top of the screen, and you want these guys to scroll, right? This is what I want. So I'll just explain this and then we'll go to that. So what I did was I selected the settings and sign out thing on top. I selected my my photo and name thing. So those two layers got selected over here, and then go to constraints on this side and switch on fix this. Tick the value, fix position when scrolling. Just select that. That's all you have to do. So now you can see, before I click that, you can see that the profile is having multiple layers just like that over here. After I click over there, you can see that it has changed to fixed, and header and group file. That is, these two guys have come under fixed, and all the other values have come under scrolls. So that's all you have to do to make it scrollable. There's nothing more you have to do. Just create a template. Just when you're creating the frame, create it for your Google Pixel, whatever it is, and then don't increase the width, increase the height of it, and it will become scrollable. All these things are automated by Figma. We don't have to worry about it. Just make sure that you keep whatever you want fixed. If I did not enable that, this whole page would scroll. In this case, these guys will stay connected on top, stay fixed on top, and these guys will scroll. Okay, now let's get to the prototyping part. This is the really exciting part. And believe it or not, if you guys attend a lot of hackathons or something, nowadays most of the winning teams create only the prototype. They don't code anything. My team has had personal experience in this, and we were really disappointed because we actually coded a lot of things. We designed and we coded, and the prizes were given to teams who created only the prototype. So you can actually win a lot of hackathons using this, because ultimately they don't expect you to code the whole thing. They just want that to be a good idea, and it should be something that is workable. So creating prototypes will actually give you a very good edge over hackathons. So now that we have our pages together, let's make it into a very responsive, not a responsive. Let's convert it into a prototype. Okay. So for that, until now we were working in the design section right here. Right beside it, we have prototype. Click on prototype, and you see your device has already been selected for you, Google Pixel XL, and the model is black and white. You can change the model of your Pixel phone too. We'll go with black and white, so it looks more distinctive or something. And the background color is the background color of the background color behind the phone. I don't think you need to change it. It looks better in black anyway. So that's that. Now comes the whole prototyping part. It's completely simple. It's so easy that you'll be wondering, where was Figma all these years in my life? The first thing you need to do is, once you shift to prototype tool, you'll observe that when you hover over a layer, it will show this small circle with a plus symbol over here. I'll zoom in, sorry. Yeah, with the plus symbol. That didn't make much of a difference. Yeah. Anyway, with the plus symbol, so just click on that login layer. You don't need to click on the login layer too. Just click on the plus symbol, hold down on the plus symbol, and where do you want to link your login button? To your login page, obviously. Just hold down, link it. And next we have sign up. Hold down, link it to sign up. Make sure the arrow comes from the sign up button. If you link it from your sign up text file to the sign up page, it will only come when you click on the text. But if you select the whole group as a whole, this is one of the other important factors of grouping this whole thing. You wanted to go to that page wherever you click on this thing, right? So you need to group them together. That is why we were grouping it all along the way. And just link it from here to there. And now the other things are pretty much self-explanatory. When you click on the back button, where do you want it to go? You want it to go back to the login page. When you click on this back button here, you want it to go back to the landing page. Sorry, not the login page, the landing page. And then once you click on the login button, you want it to log it in to your profile page. Once you click on the sign up button, this is kind of different. I will just add the other values before going there. Forgot password, it's not having a functionality right now because we did not create pages for that. New user sign up here. You click on that, and where do you want to go? You want to go to the sign up page. Already a user, you want to go to the login page. That's that. And in the sign up case, what you want is you want the pop-up to come and fill your screen. So click on sign up. You're not going to drag it here. You can drag it here, I guess. You can put a wireframe, but better than that, just come to the interaction section on the top right corner. Click on this. Change the interaction details from none to on tap, basically on clicking sign up button, and change the secondary value, which has come right below this, to open overlay. So you can see a different line has come, and this will come as an overlay. And then you have an option on where you want the overlay. You can make it, see, You see the top left, the bottom center, and all these things. You know, like some apps, right? What do I say as an example? This is a popular app which has this thing. Like some apps, the menu is on the top right. Oh, perfect example is Figma itself. Sorry. You click on the top right and the bar comes open here. If you want this kind of a feature, what do you select? You select the second option here, top left. If you want the bar to come down below, Instagram has it down below, right? The home page, the search button, all those things. If you want it down below, you click on this. But this thing is not designed for down below or side panel. It is designed for center. Okay. So when you want these two things, make sure you design for that too. So click on the center option, and when the overlay comes up, you want the remaining background to be a little more darker, right? Because it's an overlay. So just change this value to maybe 60% or something. And now let's see what's happening with the working. Oh, one more thing. The sign out button here. We'll link it back to the login button. Perfect. Okay, now get ready to be amazed and stuff. Yeah. So now just one more thing, just click outside your document and you can see all the wireframes that you have given here. And the starting frame should be on landing, obviously, because this is the first page. But I guess whichever frame you first link will automatically be selected as landing. But in case it is not, just change it to landing. If you select profile, your app will open up from what? It will open up from the profile page, but you don't want that. You want it from landing. And now comes the magic part. You can actually view this on your phone too. If you want to view it on your phone, download the Figma app, or you can just go to this link, go to the link that I've given you from your phone also. So I'll just show you the live working. Just click on this play button, present button right here on the top right corner. And let's go. Oh wow, okay. It's loading, and yes, this may lag a bit because maybe my net connection will be slower or something. So, or no need, we'll just show it from here only. So here we have the perfect app layout. You can actually function this app. You can actually use this as a functioning, not a functioning app. Sorry for my wording. You can use this as a modern slideshow, and you can, like I said, during hackathons, no one's going to check into all these things. They may check. You can mention it to them. We made a prototype. That is actually good work. You have done a lot of work in that case too. So you can show your perfect working prototypes, and you can create a very good impression. So if you want to become a UI UX developer, this is your whole process. This is the whole process flow that is going to happen. So now let's test it out. First up, we have the login button. Click, and we are at the login page. You can either go back, login, and you can click on login. And here we are. And click and drag. As you can see, these two guys are staying fixed over here, and you can drag between this section because we have fixed all these elements in scrolls, and we have fixed all these elements in fixed. Now we're going to sign out. There's no settings obviously because we have not created a settings page. Sign out, and if you click on new user sign up, you'll go where? You go to the sign up page, or we can go back and you can click on sign up, and we have this page. All the values are already entered in. You can't get a functioning keyboard or anything. Sorry about that. The Figma, hopefully maybe in the future. You click on sign up, and as you can see, we have an overlay which says sign up successful login, and this whole background has been darkened by 60%. Click on login again. Oops. Okay. Login, and you link it to login. You forgot to do that. And I hope this has reloaded or something. Yes. Perfect. So this is our completely functioning prototype. So hopefully in the future, maybe Figma will take over and we can actually create fully functioning apps using Figma. You don't have to you don't have to code, you don't have to worry about bugs and all those things. You can create a fully functioning app using Figma, hopefully in the future. Okay, right now it's only in prototyping functionality. And believe it or not, Adobe XD actually has more features than Figma. I think you can actually add animations and stuff too. And we are at 7:45. I'll just mention a few more examples of other clients which you can use to do this. There's a thing called Framer. I'm not that familiar with it. I just created an account and checked it out once. Framer is focused on the animation part. So even if you see the ads that are being run by Framer, most of my YouTube videos show the ad of Framer. It says design in Figma, prototype in Framer. So I'm not going to go into it. You can actually add a lot of beautiful animations. All these things you're seeing right now, you can add these animations if you're creating your prototype in Framer. And no one needs to take a session on this. You can just work your way around this and you will learn it. I'm 100% sure of it. It's not rocket science, it's pretty much simple. So what people are doing right now is they design all these elements in Figma, and you can actually connect your Figma account to Framer. I have mine connected up, I think. Yeah, you can see here, connected apps. Framer is linked to Figma, or more, Figma is linked to Framer. So whatever design I create within Figma, it is automatically being synced into Framer. So you can go there. You don't have to don't do the prototyping part in Figma. Just do the designing part in Figma. Go to Framer, and you can do the entire prototyping over there. You can add like beautiful animations and all those things. And then another video that I saw recently on YouTube was a framework called Bruno. Its name was Bruno. So what Bruno does is pretty amazing. It actually converts your Figma designed app into a working model, but not with backend, of course. Most of you may be aware of a thing called REST API, which is basically kind of like a hooks. If you want to link two different platforms together, you use REST API. You can look more into it. So what Bruno does is you can connect your Figma design to Bruno, and you can use REST APIs to pass data. Like for example, this Hemant Janesh is typed in here, right? If you're using Bruno and Figma and REST API together, you can actually pass values, and maybe you can like once I log in, these values are all hard coded, not hard coded, hard designed maybe. These are all typed in values, right? You can actually pass in like new values. You can refresh the app and you can pass in values if you use Bruno and Figma and REST API together. Just Google it and you'll get a video. I think some person had done a video on it. It was a good video, but I never got a chance to look into it. So I guess that's that. And I hope I was not too boring or overbearing or something like that. I guess I was pretty much fast, but you guys understand the time constraints and everything, so we had to go fast. Hopefully in the future we can have a more detailed session, which will make things much more easier and much more detailed. So for now, I guess I'll sign out with this. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you so much for all for spending your time, for taking your time and coming here, being with us, and spending your time with the DSC Vast. Make sure you attend all the other sessions too. I'm sure they'll be just as okay. I can't say that, I'll be praising myself, right? Sorry. I'm sure they'll be more valuable to you guys than the session. I'm pretty sure of that. So thank you so much. So if there's anyone else, is Anjana going to take over now? Oh, and don't forget to fill in the attendance sheet and the feedback form. So please do fill in that. It's really important to us. So fill in that. I think they have already passed in the values before, the link before. So do fill it in. And it is the same link as yesterday. It is not a new link today. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'll go on mute now. Oh wait, sorry. Question session. We have 10 minutes left. You guys have anything to ask? Please ask me. I forgot about the questionnaire part. Really sorry about that. So if you have any questions, please do ask it. I'm not exactly a pro on Figma, to be honest. I learned it exactly 1.5 months ago when we were participating in the Smart India Hackathon. And we actually got first prize for that. And most of it was like it was. I guess I could go as far as and say that Figma played a huge role in it. Obviously, I'm not a coder. I'm the designer guy, and my team did all the coding, and they were wonderful. But we did the designing in Figma, so that was nice. How to work on universal platforms? What did you mean by universal platforms? Like, could you elaborate on that? I don't think I'm familiar with that term. Universal as in responsive. Do you mean responsive? Responsive. Okay, you can't actually make responsive designs in Figma. So, but it's not needed actually, because the responsive editing part is not coming in Figma. It is the responsibility of the front end coder, right? So, sorry, that is one thing I forgot to mention. Sorry. Thank you so much, Nathan, for reminding me of that. See, how are you going to export these things? We have to take a look at that too, right? Yeah, we still have time. See, how are you going to pass these values to the developer? That is one very important thing. So what you need to do is you can export all these values. Go back to design right over here. You go back to design on top, and you have an export option at the bottom right here. You can see that, right? It's my I think my photo is covering that up. Wait, yeah, you have a export option over here, if you can see it properly, right below the FX panel. So if you click on the export option, Yeah, if you click on the export option, it will give you multiple options. You can export it as a PNG, you can export it as JPEG, you can export it as SVG, and you can export as a PDF. And you can actually double the size of this. 1x gives you the original size that we designed it in, 2x, 3x, 4x, etc. So what I did, my workflow was basically, my friend was the Android programmer when we were doing this one day hackathon. So what I did was I just hid the text layer and I extracted only this box. I only extracted this box as a PNG so that the background does not come, and I sent it to him. Like that, I exported everything. I exported this thing as one single pic. I exported this whole group, both these photos, both these icons as one single layer. I exported this black background on its own. I exported this white on its own. The title, I guess he typed it in the Android app because that is more responsive, right? You can't have the title as a fixed case. So you can export all these things individually, and I think there is a plugin now which will export all these things individually for you. You don't have to like hide and export and hide and export and do that. So when you're working universally, what you do is you just give them this single layer and then this single layer, etc., 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 and then they make it responsive. Making it responsive is not your part. This Figma is basically for user experience. It is not for make. Like I said, we are not the programmers. And if you are a guy who knows both front end and you can learn Figma, you will reach God level. Like literally, if you become fluent in both Figma and you are fluent in iOS or Android or web or anything like that, you can actually design beautifully in Figma, and you can just extract it simply as that. You can export it simply as that to the next client. Okay, what is the next question? I hope that answers it. I'm not exactly completely fluent with transferring it to a responsive UI because I work primarily in design. So I just export these things and I give it to the developer, and then he's the person concerned with all those making it responsive and stuff. Yeah. For hackathons nowadays, that depends on the hackathon. Like if it's a small scale hackathon at some random college or something, or even some major ones, they will not expect you to build the whole thing in like 3 days. That's not possible. Like if you want to build a large scale app or something based on your idea, it will obviously take months of testing and developing and debugging and all that. So if your idea is really good enough and you manage to build the prototype and show them, and honestly speaking, I'm not talking ill of the people judging it, but some people don't realize that it's a prototype. Even if you say prototype, they think that there is code. So they'll be like, oh wow, wonderful, you built it in 3 days. But most of the cases, we tell them this is just a prototype, and they'll be okay with it. So it depends. If they like your idea, think of it like this. Once you show them the prototype, you are making a very huge impression on them. Like, even if they know that it's just a prototype, in their mind, it's like registered. Oh wow, they built this. So that effect is there. But things like Smart India Hackathon or some major like MLH or Dafolio hackathons, which are like proper Dafolio hackathons, not Dafolio, not the ones that you create in Dafolio. Those kind of people actually will look at the code too. So it depends on the hackathon. Can we export this work completely? We can export this work completely, but it will come as an image file. It won't come as a program, or it won't come as an app or anything. You can only run the prototypes within Figma, or you can export it to Framer and etc. You can't build this into an APK. That is the problem. Then what about an optional contest based on this? Oh yeah, sorry. What is the time now? I actually forgot to create the questionnaire for that. I was out of time. So don't worry. By 8:30, we will send you the link for the contest to your mails. It will be simple, like maybe 10 questions maximum. So more priority will be given to the person who answered first with more points. I'll just give you an overview of the contest. We are giving out a prize. I'm not going to mention what it is. It is worth your while, trust me. It's not a physical object because we can't do anything right now. We'll give you something online. And you guys can answer the questionnaire for each day, like maybe 10 questions maximum. Simple questions based on the session. And as they're simple, it will be more of the person who answered it first. And since it's Google form, we can see who answered it first, right? And we'll have a separate leaderboard page which will show, which will be sorted according to the person who has the highest points and the earliest time. We'll have a page ready. So we'll give you all this by today night, and we'll give you the questionnaire by 8:30. 4 minutes left. Okay. Are they open source? You mean for the Figma? Figma is not open source. Figma is free at the moment, and you need to pay or take a subscription only if you want to work on a major project with your team. Like if you want to, if it's just a small collaboration or something like that, it is okay. But if you're a company or something with a larger thing in mind, with a larger scale in mind, then you need to pay that. It's not. I don't think it's open source. It's not open source. It's a company only, but it's pretty much all these functionalities are free. You don't have to free. Okay, all these functionalities are free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay, bye bye, Nimal. Thank you for attending. Yeah. How to export as an image file? The whole thing, you can export anything in this as an image file. You can export just this already a user login as a single image file. I'll just export this entire landing page for you guys. Just click on the whole frame as it is. Come to the export option down below over here. Can you see that? Is my image blocking it in the Google Meet? Come to the export option right here. Click on the plus button here. Oh shit, that is FX. Sorry. Come to the export option down here. Click on the plus button. My mouth is dry, so my words are cracking up. Sorry about that. You can export it as PNG, JPG, SVG, and PDF. We'll go with PNG and 1x size and export landing. And it will just download the file to your folder. And here you have it. Yeah, it's exported as a PNG file without the background. Sorry, this is my Windows problem. It is taking some time to load. Okay, let's zoom in here and show you. That'll be better. See, it has been exported as an image file here, as you can see, as a PNG file without a background. Yeah, probably. Adobe XD, I have not worked on it much, so it probably exports all the elements on its own. And Adobe XD is kind of more advanced than Figma, but Figma has a different feel. Like I said, Figma kept themselves minimal. Adobe XD, like Adobe Photoshop, etc., are like kind of cluttered, but not as cluttered or anything. I'm not saying that much, but this is comparatively more minimal and easier to use. And does Adobe XD have a web client? I'm not sure about that. You can literally work on Figma from your web browser. That is a huge advancement, right? Maybe Adobe XD has a web client. I'm not sure of it. Just check it out. The contest link will be sent in the mail. Don't worry about it. It will be sent by 8 p.m. today. 8:30 p.m. Sorry, 8:30 p.m. today. And are the points for answering fast or answering correct? Both. If you answer correct and answer fast. If it was just for answering fast, I can just fill in random answers, right? The person with the most correct answers and the person who has answered top. Like basically, what I'm saying is this is going to be very simple. If you have listened to the session, it's not going to be like complicated things or anything. So everyone's going to answer. Like a lot of people are going to get full marks. So we have to look at the time too. Understand? Yeah. No need to call me sir or anything. I'm just a student. Okay. What all tools do you use apart from Figma? Okay, I design mainly in Photoshop. I'm most well versed in Photoshop. I know Illustrator to a working capacity, but I am not a person who can draw at all. And I'm a UI UX designer. That is another thing I can tell you guys. You don't need to be able to draw perfect circles or beautiful images. I don't know to draw. I can't even draw a circle properly. And here I am designing UI UXs. Okay, so you can just dive right into it. You don't need to be from a specific background or computer science or something else. You can just dive right into this. Just let your imagination run wild and you can do whatever you want. Wix.com. No. Wix.com is actually giving you backend too. Like if you're like pulling and Wix and WordPress, all these guys will give you templates. There is code in the background. But what they do is you pull in a template from their options. You just have to worry about the design. Their software will automatically create the code in the background. There is no code involved in this. This is pure design. But you can get some code from there. You can get some kind of a code option from the code option on the top. Beside prototype, you can get CSS, iOS, and Android. But like I said in the beginning, this will give you a fixed code. Like bit will be fixed. It will not be responsive. Okay. Can we convert these name is something? Can you design a website with this? Yeah, when you can't design a fully functioning website, you can create the design of the website. So when you select the frame, select website and select an option for that. Or just go with 1920 and 1080, which is the standard size for websites, right? So you can design a website or an app for a fixed screen size. If you want it to be responsive, you have to make the app. Or or I'll give you an example. For the hackathon, what we did was I took the exact screen size of my phone, and I did not select pixel or anything. I drew the frame in the exact size of my phone, and I created the entire prototype based on that. So when I was showing it to the judges, it worked perfectly on my phone. And thankfully, they didn't ask me to send it to their phone because then it would be like completely out of size and everything. You can design a. Oh, you asked, can you design a website? Sorry, man. You can design a website, but you can't make a website. You can't make it working. Okay. Can you add coding in Figma? You can't add coding in Figma. You can add the Figma designs to your coding. Okay, it's the other way around. Can you convert these to app easily? No, you can't convert these to front end as of yet. Hopefully, maybe in the future, in a long time in the future, you can export these designs individually and you can integrate them with your Android app or your website or your iOS app or anything else. You can do that, but you can't convert this to an app. And one example I told you before was the whole Bruno and Rust API thing. Just Google convert Figma to app using Bruno, and you will get a link. It is not a perfect system, but it works to some case. This is not kind of like WordPress. WordPress has code. WordPress will be having code right in the background. When you create a template or a design in WordPress, you will be concerned only with the template and design part. When you create that design, WordPress will create the code in the background. In this case, it's like pure design. Okay. You cannot create this into a functioning app with backend or anything. You can use these elements in your app, and you can use Android Studio for coding, and then you can create the designs in this and then import all these images to Android Studio, and then you can place it within your app and you can complete your code. You cannot do anything from Figma to. You can do from something to Figma. What am I saying? You can do something from Figma. You can import from. Sorry. You can export elements from Figma to something else. You cannot convert Figma to something else. That is what I'm saying. What should we do to make this functional? You need to have knowledge in coding in some area, either Android or iOS or website or web development, something like that. So when you're creating designs in web, when you're coding in web, etc., you can just design these elements in Figma and you can take it there. You don't have to like sit and code the design tool. Like when you're using CSS, you actually have to code the design tools. That'll drive you crazy. So in this case, see the font here, right? So position, absolute, width, height, all these things are already. Oh, this is CSS. Okay, this is of no use. You can't take this code and place it there because it will give you a fixed version of this. If you want it to be responsive and everything, you need to code it properly. You need to know coding. So ultimately, what you can do is you can land a job as a UI UX designer whose specific job is to design, only design, not code. And if you are good enough in coding too, if you learn Figma along with that or Adobe XD or anything like that along with this, you will be able to create like beautiful things. If you are well versed in coding and you master this, imagine the possibilities. That is basically what they're saying. Okay, so we have reached the end of questions, so I guess we'll end the session for now. We have overshot by 4 minutes. If you guys have filled the feedback form, feel free to leave. So thank you so much today. Thank you so much for being here today. I had a wonderful time taking this session. I'm really happy. I was not sure I could pull this off, but somehow I managed to, I guess. So whatever flaws were there, please excuse those. We'll fix them the next time. So thank you. Designing this export to Android Studio, right or similar. Designing this export to Android Studio, perfect. Design the elements in this. You can't export the sign up button as a whole and get a separate text field and the background field in Android. You have to export only the background and you have to type using Android. You have a text box option in Android, right? You have to type using that text box. But you can export the background and you can place it in Android Studio and make it all perfect. Or if you're making a hard-coded app, you can just if the sign up is not going to change anyway, just export the whole text box with sign up on top of it. Export that as a single file, as a PNG file, and you can place it in Android. But when you make it responsive, what happens? The size becomes elongated or the height becomes long, and then the sign up text also changes, right? So if you want that to stay the same, export the background of the sign up button only as PNG, and the text part you have to type it within Android. Okay, yeah. So I guess we'll end now. So thank you so much, guys. Once again, I'm not going to say thank you again. I've been saying thank you for quite some time now. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll come to an end of the session. So feel free to fill in the form if you have not already filled. I think it's still open. I hope it's still open. Otherwise, thank you and bye.
And now we come to the end of the second day of our Hello World webinar. It was quite an exciting event. I hope you guys have learned something from this, and hopefully some of you guys will become UI UX designers in the future. I thank our senior and ex-DSC lead Hemant for this insightful session. Once again, thank you all for being a great audience. And as a reminder, we have a quiz which has been prepared for you. I ask every one of you to finish it, and it would only be available for 30 minutes. Please make sure that you attend it before the time ends. Thank you.